because of the tens of millions of pounds her party receives from Unite, or indeed the £10,000 she's received for her own election campaign?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I thought the Shadow Secretary was beneath that and better than that, but hey-ho. Look, this is a local dispute, and it's right that the negotiations are led locally, Mr. Speaker.
Remember when Angela Rayner was seen as the unstoppable voice of the working class? Well, forget that. Kevin Hollinrake just turned the tables right on the Parliament floor, exposing a web of contradictions she didn't see coming. All it took was one explosive interview, one sharp takedown, and suddenly, the so-called champion of the people is left scrambling to defend herself. Could this be the turning point where Labour's poster girl shifts from holding power to managing damage control? Buckle up, this political firestorm just exploded.
She still doesn't explain why she's not visited the city to look at this firsthand. But in her manifesto, on another topic, in her manifesto, she sets out that she would preserve the green belt. In this very house, she said she would transform grey belt land such as wasteland or old car parks. But also she would protect green belts. The Office of Budget Responsibility, in their report accompanying the spring statement last week, states that most additional homes delivered, so up to 500,000, according to
Angela Rayner, used to be the unshakable symbol of the working class, a bold presence in red lipstick and heels that looked ready for a street fight. She was Labour's no-nonsense, straight-talking powerhouse with a voice as sharp as her style. She didn't just talk politics, she commanded it. And the public? They loved it. She was like Parliament's working-class Gordon Ramsay, tossing rhetorical grenades and seasoning every speech with raw attitude. No filters, no fluff, just fire. No carefully coached PR team hovering behind her holding up damage control cue cards. So what changed?
But, Mr. Speaker, I read with interest that the Right Honourable Gentleman has been urging his neighbour in number 10 to call an election because he's worried they might get wiped out. Has he finally realised that when he stabbed Boris Johnson in the back to get his mate into number 10, he was ditching their biggest election winner for a pint-sized loser?
Angela Rayner found herself cornered by her own words, twisted in contradiction, and thrown right back at her by a man with the charm of a tax inspector and the subtlety of a sledgehammer. And yes, it hurt. This wasn't just a simple lie. Oh no, that would have been too convenient. This was hypocrisy served on a silver platter, and Kevin made sure everyone got a generous helping. While Angela was busy preparing her next outrage-filled speech for the cameras, Kevin came armed with a fact sheet so thick it could pass for the next volume of War and Peace.
Angela Rayner, the Right to Buy scheme meant buying her own home and improving her financial circumstances, but it seems such a policy will no longer be afforded to people living in council houses. Up the ladder for Ms Rayner, but it's only snakes.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe. Unlike most political scandals, this wasn't some fuzzy case of maybe she misremembered. Nope, this was crystal clear. She said one thing on camera, then said the opposite on another, and somehow claimed both recordings were wrong. The moment Kevin started speaking, the whole chamber fell silent. You could practically hear Angela's credibility reversing in real time. He highlighted contradictions so obvious, it felt like Angela was auditioning for the Great British Flip-Flop. And what made it worse? She'd been so sure of herself.
She still doesn't explain why she's not visited the city to look at this firsthand.
How was it called? Oh, Mr. Speaker, I thought he was going to do better, but he didn't. The minister was in Birmingham on Thursday, and I'm always happy to visit Birmingham. It's a great city, and it's always been a fantastic place, and I've probably been there more times than the honourable member has, actually.
She walked into Parliament like a queen ready to defend her castle, only to discover the drawbridge was made of tweets, and the moat was full of old speeches she hoped everyone had forgotten. At the heart of Kevin's takedown was this: the image Angela Rayner had so carefully crafted, working-class champion, truth-teller, guardian of Labour soul, was apparently held together with duct tape and wishful thinking. While she was busy calling out everyone else's hypocrisy, she was knee-deep in her own. And Kevin? He didn't need to raise his voice. He stood there calm and cold, like a political undertaker reading out the autopsy report of Angela's career. She tried to hit back, of course, with her signature hand gestures, a flash of that northern steel, and the defiant tone that screams, "I'm being wronged," and also mildly outraged on behalf of the whole nation. But this wasn't political theater anymore. This was a reckoning, and Kevin wasn't playing along.
Help to Buy helped 350,000 young first-time buyers. The stamp duty discount helped 640,000 first-time buyers get in the housing ladder, but discounts are up to £11,000. Both now scrapped. Is the Secretary of State pulling up the housing ladder behind her?
The room went silent, like someone unplugged the Wi-Fi. And the lies? Not even clever. Just sloppy, obvious contradictions from someone who thought nobody would hit rewind. Angela Rayner underestimated two things: Google and Kevin Hollinrake with a notepad. Kevin laid it out, words versus actions. And just like that, her authority evaporated. Rayner tried the usual spin. Thousands struggle with housing. Cue buzzwords. But none of it stuck. Why? Because she promised to protect the green belt, then pushed gray belt developments on car parks and garages. Voters noticed. Twitter exploded. Memes hit before she left the chamber. Strong opinions. Weak memory. Worse, Labor supporters started asking, wait, did she really say that? That's the kind of damage you don't walk away from. Rayner looked less like an outsider and more like the machine she swore to fight. Kevin? Calm, with receipts. She said everyone should be treated equally under the law. He replied, then why was China's super embassy approved over objections? Her team had nothing. Just vague excuses and poor communication claims. But the clips said it all. Her own voice, contradicting herself. The irony? Painful. The anti-elite crusader caught playing the same elite games. Now, the fallout is real. Credibility gone. Labor scrambling. And yes, there's a police investigation into her council house sale. Conflicting stories. Tax questions. She denies wrongdoing. But the questions keep coming. Hollinrake didn't win a debate. He tore down a brand. So why'd he do it? Moral duty? Political move? Maybe he was just done watching someone skate by on slogans while dodging scrutiny. Either way, he lit the match. Labor brought a teaspoon to a bonfire. And the truth? Didn't shout. Didn't tweet. Just stood still. While the lies collapsed.